Hello and welcome. I'm joined today by my guest Terry Lightfoot of Touchright. Terry, how are you doing?
Hi, David.
Hi, Terry. Thanks for joining me. Terry, we were talking off camera a little bit about some of the challenges that agents face in dealing with their clients. A lot of agents produce reports that are sort of shabbily put together on an old Word document that's been overtyped so many times that not all the changes match up and not all the things are in the right place. We've all seen those before. There are people that are still using Excel spreadsheets as routine measures to report to their clients. And it doesn't need to be that way anymore. There are more professional ways to present information to a client, essential information, that not only reflects well on the agent, but it becomes a USP for that agent that they're able to produce quality documentation that they can be proud of.
Exactly. Yeah, there's many ways to produce reports. The old methods aren't broken, but they certainly can aren't the best for use of time and also with the modern way of sort of digital transformation of your property reports, you're going to paper saving, the time saving, and software like ours, can help fast start with ready-made templates, or we can help with sort of customization and bringing to life some of those old Word docs, Excel sheets that people are pretty much used to using. Just modernizing those in a digital way. That way, if you're taking pictures, they're fully embedded into the reports. No sort of, to coin the phrase of heavy lifting, getting back to the office in your downloading lots of photos and resizing and reformatting and everything. There's a lot of effort goes in that, especially if you do a day's worth of inspections or do an inventory. Things like that can simply help save a lot of time. And then with software like ours, anyone that receives a PDF report can click on any of the photos in the report and they enlarge to full size. So that's great for sort of highlighting issues or
And
repairs.
it's got some clever functionality that allows the end user of that report to make comments. So this is really at its most basic level, this is custom made almost for the inventory process or property inspections, in as much as some very often tenants will have a comment to make about um, the condition of something that they've received. And in the old days, you used to
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
rely on
exactly.
hand scribbled notes.
Well, exactly. Even just in the basic format of syncing and sending and filling in a report, your app becomes your pen and paper of old. Syncing that back to the dashboard, you can then send it out for remote comments, which is, where the tenants could add comments to it. They have to sign it. You can give them 1 day, 2 days, 7 days, however long to fill reports in. It's often used for inventories, whereas routine inspections, you just generally sometimes just want to download it and get it back to the landlord, and that's where that can sort of just ease the process. Other things, you can link reports, see what you said last time, save going into a filing cabinet and pulling out your historic report, pull that onto your device. You don't then have to share it with the landlord, your previous report. If you've noticed something that hasn't quite resolved itself, evidence of pets or smoking, or the fence wasn't fixed, when you looked at it last time, things like that. So you can do all those things. Linking reports is great when you've done an inventory and a checkout. It produces a comparison report, changes report. And likewise, if you're just using it for regular routine inspections, you can tag issues and repairs. They fall into a separate area in Touchright, and if you're using Fixflow, would automatically fall into your Fixflow account as well. So you can
Well,
then
that's really interesting. I always say that great prop tech knows how to play with others well, and obviously you guys integrate with Fixflow, which is another great solution for people who are managing the repair reporting process. But if you're able to integrate with that, that's a great synergy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's surprising. for the people that are using Fixflow, it just helps. It makes sense. You know, if you're using Fixflow to manage all your contractors and repairs, and it just makes logical sense if the PM's out tagging those issues and repairs that they automatically fall in. And likewise, you know, with our CRMs that we integrate with, all the appointment setting can be done in the CRM. It automatically falls into your account. And finally, when you finish a report in Touchright, mark it final, either a link or a link or a version of that report ends up back in the CRM. You know, people that have hooked in the CRMs think it's magic. You know, it's simple stuff, but you know, yeah, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, as you can imagine. But little things like that just keep, as we say, just keeps the data flowing really, and do something here, it ends up there, and it ends back there. You know, so it's all our integrations do vary wildly as well, bizarrely.
So there's a great variety of possible uses for Touchright and for the reports that you produce. And obviously we've touched on inventories, routine inspections, but there are, you know, check-in and check-out reports, it goes without saying. But there's other stuff such as sort of maintenance reports, you know, it could be a very useful tool for block managers, for companies that manage blocks of flats. Legionnaire reports have become more commonplace, and a number of different self-service reports. So really, this is a product that can adapt to your needs. If it's reporting, you could probably do it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we've got 30 plus sort of ready-made templates, but you wouldn't believe how many hundreds and hundreds of versions of routine inspections and inventories we've customized and made, you know, just on people's different requirements over the years. But as you say, yeah, you know, Legionella reports, HHSRS, you know, we can build property MOTs. We've created all sorts for people, and obviously during lockdown we introduced self-service reports. They've gone down really well, you know, where property manager can send out a self-service. The mandatory sections come into play there. You never know what you're going to get from a tenant, you know, when you send something out. But if you've sold it to the right way through to social distancing and wanting to sort of stay on top of repairs and maintenance, and funny enough, they want to fill it in because it's for their benefits. And likewise, you know, we have over the phone and sort of FaceTime and Zoom type reporting where the property manager can be sat directly in the Touchright, you know, chatting to them, seeing them run around the property, doing things, and then you can send the report to them afterwards to add their photos. So, you know, we've trying to either reduce the amounts of effort that a property manager needs to do, the amount of clicks, but also mindful that if you do get the tenants involved, we don't need them to have download a Touchright app or have a login. That all requires then support and service. You know, forgot password, if they forget their passwords, they need to be trained, you know. So you can over engineer things sometimes, I think, software. So we try and look at it from a point of view. How easy is it for the person to try and use things? You know, and likewise, when stuff goes out to a tenant, you don't, the business idea of it sounds great, but you need the actual in practice. It needs to be easy to use, you know, and we're sort of mindful of that. And that's gone down really well with some of our big customers that have, you know, gone from doing absolutely hundreds and hundreds of inspections each month to lockdown. And what do we do now? You know, you've still got the landlord asking about them, or, you know, giving you earache about, you know, routine inspections. So, you know, that sort of fills the gap really.
It's a great way to clear the backlog, and I think, you know, if we were to air some estate agents' dirty secrets, there must be a bunch of agents somewhere with a whole load of photos that they've taken of a property that they promised themselves faithfully that they would be typing up and sending to a landlord in some form. If we're lucky, the photos will get onto the server. If we're lucky, those photos will then find themselves transferred from the server into a Word document. And by the time you've finished lining up all those little squares and get it, I can tell you, what you think in your head is a 5-minute job becomes an hour-long art project. And I think really what you're doing here is that you're keeping those 5-minute processes actually to 5 minutes, and it's tremendously user friendly. So you've got this cloud-based dashboard which you can access from anywhere on the planet with an internet connection. We've had our own issues with internet connections today already, but notwithstanding that, completely mobile friendly and can be accessed pretty much from anywhere. You've got, not only is it mobile friendly, but it's not just sitting on a website. So you've got dedicated apps that have been built for both Android and Apple, which must have taken a lot of sort of getting right, but it works, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've been around a few years now, but and had apps and did a major overhaul on the apps, in 2018, and they're both natively written, so they work for Android and iOS devices. They do have their unique way of doing things, but yeah, again, the app works offline. If we have a lot of users use Wi-Fi only sort of tablets and devices, as long as you've synced and you don't log out of the app, you can continue. So yeah, if you go to those far-flung places where internet isn't quite there, you can still work offline and carry on filling your form in, and a lot of people would tend to sync at the end of the day anyway, because they don't realise it could take hundreds and hundreds of pictures. You may not want to sync that over your phone on a SIM card, so yeah, all those things that have covered, we've always had that from day one, really, the flexibility of working offline. But it does give either option. Some people are really wedded to Apple products, whereas others will go out and buy a Samsung tablet, because you generally get, quite a high spec device that's ideal for the office. But more people do reach for their phones because they've just got them with them nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, they are effectively mini tablets, aren't they? So in terms of your green credentials, Terry, and that's not normally a sentence I end up saying with every supplier, but one of the things that this does, and I suppose it's almost easy to overlook this, but you can reduce the paper spend, and also the carbon footprint of any office, because you're cutting down on reams of paper that people used to use for printing out reports that we knew were important, that somebody might not necessarily need to read today, but they're definitely going to dig out in the event that there's the dispute in 6 months' time. So they need to go and live in the filing cabinet over there. But here, this allows you to produce the report, store it digitally, and we're going to cut out the middleman, which is the copy paper.
Well, yeah, we've had some customers that have been with us for years now, and they've just, genuinely sort of said to us how much paper they've saved, and filing cabinet space, office space, even down to that sort of level, especially because you can link reports and pull that in, and all that intel is there. So we've all seen the cases where an inventory's done, you print 2 copies of an inventory, and then the tenant finds that, that the inventory clerk missed something, so you have to print another 2 copies, and and then you go and do a checkout, and they've shown you their version with all the scribbles on, but the office copy didn't have the one with all the scribbles on. Where's the real one? So you could be on the back foot doing a checkout, where you with ours, if you're linking and pulling the reports through the tenancy timeline, then it just saves the need to print, and again, the software is then producing that comparison report for you if you need it for disputes, or just to remind the tenants the oven was clean at the start, and when they moved in 3 years ago, 2 years ago. So little things like that can help with being a lot greener, saving a lot of time and effort, and a lot of expense. Paper isn't cheap, ink isn't cheap, and also you've had people over the years challenge, well, I spent hundreds of pounds on a top end camera and so forth. You go, yeah, but printing it out on a £50 printer, and the reports don't look great, and then you don't get the benefit of the click to enlarge with the photos in the report, which you would not get if you print the report. So once people adopt that, they go from behind me the pile of paper, in a sort of banner, to the digital world, and they go, wow, you can have a day's worth of appointments and reports on your device without having to put them in a bag.
So the obvious main benefit to an agent, not only adding value to the client and giving them a report that's a pleasure to read and easy to comment on and easy to give feedback on, and accessible pretty much anywhere. Reduce your postage costs because you're no longer mailing out massive reports. You're printing, and time saving is a massive thing. Time is money, and in our game, we use tech to buy time. Effectively, that's the currency here. But essentially, you add another benefit as well, and I love this part of your offering was that you have a sort of lone worker protection element to your software as well. Um, we touched on it off camera in one of our initial conversations that by and large the property management sector of our industry is very heavily led by people who are likely to be lone workers. They're conducting inspections with members of the public that were familiar to us only as tenants, but they're for all intents and purposes strangers. A lot of women work within that section of the industry as well, so there are vulnerabilities both for women and for men, but particularly an employer has a responsibility to a certain extent to ensure that lone worker protection is somehow built into their processes, and it's something that we sometimes too heavily overlook. We've relied on perhaps code words or different methods of alerting people in the past, but you've got it built into the app.
Yeah, we've had it built in for quite a few years now, and just simple alerts. A couple of alerts that you can customize on the same vein as you can customize your reports. You can customize these couple of alerts. So, it's one of those things that you say, a lot of people have code words in the office and ask for something particular, and everything happens. It's just very discreetly the property manager could use one of the alerts just to say they're leaving the property or they're just about to start the property, and not to over engineer it again. It's purely a subject line message. They need to be on a connected device naturally with their location services on, but it's a subject line, the color of that alert, what that message is that's pre-customized, and their location, in a link. So it's just one of those, just basic stuff again, but simple and engineered. And, in the dashboard, you'd have configured who you want those alerts to go to. So it could be the office manager, the business owner, or whatever. So it's just simple. And then the red alert could be, that could be your code red, really, whatever that deemed to be, or part of your sort of HR policies. So yeah, just nicely, very discreetly, you can just swipe down and press the alerts, and it goes. So
yeah, that's fantastic, especially if you're in the process of sort of carrying out a report on that device. It looks like you're carrying on working.
Yeah.
Nobody that you feel threatened by at that time would be aware that you've raised the alert, if you like. It's a very important conversation. It's an ongoing conversation that should still be had within our industry, but also, particularly as business owners, we need to sort of fess up and realize that sometimes we're guilty of placing our workers in potentially very sort of vulnerable and threatening situations, and we should at the very least, give them the reporting tools necessary to be able to raise awareness without really sort of causing them to put themselves in a heightened danger by raising the person in front of them. They're aware that they're making that call. So I think this is very important. We
we've
looked
had
at your sort of pricing models as well, Terry, and it's very straightforward. There is a plan to fit every size of user and functionality. You can even have it effectively as a pay-as-you-go elements as well, and so those plans are there to suit, I presume, a range of different size businesses.
Yeah, different users. If we've got a lot of assessors use the software for just legionella and clerks, just doing work for agents and landlords, so they might choose to report and go. No, access to, they're just happy to use the ready-made templates and store the reports themselves. Then our entry monthly light plan is simply £10 a month, includes 4 reports, and every other report is £2.50. £2.50, you get access to all the features, integrations, and customization. Or it's where the all-inclusive plans are, based on a portfolio. So if you are an agent with a portfolio of XYZ, you can know what your portfolio is and know what your final plan would be. But if you're going to do routine inspections 2, 3, 4, whatever a year, that equates to quite a low per report fee. So some people come onto the service simply to just change their process, be more efficient with routine inspections. Next thing there's, I could do some maintenance reports or some self-service and stuff. And on those all-inclusive plans, there's no extra fees. So, some of the student agents we've got using the software do loads of reports a year because they really tap into the flexibility of
their cost per report must come right down.
Yeah, just shrinks massively, and some of our build to rent and block customers, don't want those type of plans. They're happy to sort of be paid per license or user, but they do reports every 4 hours, in some cases. They're doing just some of the build to rent and block customers are just constantly reporting day in, day out in massive volumes, because they want blocks to stay at that sort of level. So yeah, it's got wide uses and wide sector uses with the software, as we've sort of found out over the years.
And the flexibility is there that if you need to change plan, so you either need to upgrade or downgrade at any point, you can switch really at a moment's notice.
Yeah, the banding works well. In years gone by, we used to have, just a few plans. But a lot of people who come to us saying, we're not quite here at this one yet. Could you do anything in between? We've always been transparent with our pricing. It's there on the website. Move up and down the bands accordingly. You can work through the banding as well. Start off there and know that your final band could be 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line before you maximize adding your properties. Yeah. We even control it with the integrations as well. We don't just go connect and pull everything in. We allow you to select what properties you want to work on. So, you're moving through the bands. And some of the businesses really appreciate that they, they're not going to get around to do, hundreds of inspections within the first few weeks or months on a 500 portfolio. So they appreciate that can sort of roll through. So yeah, it's just something. And likewise, when landlords sell, or you have a bit of a tidy up every now and then, you could move either way, on your banding if that's what's what. But the nice thing is, when we've got a lot of agents that have grown or buying up portfolios and buying up smaller businesses, they know that then potentially it might just be a £5 upgrade to the next band to bring on another portfolio, so it isn't a big overhead cost increase for, growing their business.
Well, that's fantastic. Obviously, all your details are on the Kerfuffle site, and a link to your Touchright deal will be flashing across the screen as we speak right now, along with all your details. That's how agents can get in touch. It's a very straightforward onboarding process, and you should be up and running and producing reports in no time at all. Terry, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Yeah, cheers, David. Thanks very much.